You're listening to Ages and Stages, where womanhood gets real across every decade. 3 women, 3 life stages, 1 honest conversation. Each episode, we break down one topic, from relationships to career to motherhood and identity and how it evolves across the decades. If you've ever wondered whether you're the only one figuring things out, you're not. This is Ages and Stages.
Welcome back to Ages and Stages, where we talk about the honest truth, real life, real struggles, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Wendy.
I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Emma.
And we're so glad that you are able to join us back for another episode of Ages and Stages. So I thought we could start today and actually talk a little bit more on self care. What do we do to take care of ourselves? There's a lot of information out there about self care. But one of the things that I've noticed in talking with friends and, of course, working with my patients is that, people just don't do a very good job at taking care of themselves. And it's one of those really important things to do because it brings balance back into your day, your life. So we're going to start. And Emma, what do you do for self-care?
Ooh, for me, I love a good walk. Anytime I can get some sunshine and outside, which is um, tough to do sometimes in Minnesota. I mean, I feel like some of our nice days are pretty few and far in between, but when they happen, I love to just get outside and go for a little walk and take my dog and my baby and my stroller and just go and get outside. I also love a good bubble bath. Um, or good skincare, comfy clothes, music, a book, or one thing recently that I've been trying, which it sounds really silly, but like going to my happy place. Like you see it all the time on movies and TV shows, people like going to their happy places. And
Mm-hmm.
mine really seems to work. Mine is like the beach with my fingers in the warm sand with like a fruity drink in my chair and I can feel the sun. And I think why that works well for me is because I have a lot of anxiety throughout my day. So it's kind of like a grounding technique almost for me with all like the senses and the sights. And it
Mm-hmm.
seems really silly, but for me, it just works so well. So I guess those would be mine. I don't know. I think it's so important for everyone to do. How about you, Lindsay?
Yeah, mine really it varies because I'm very big into self-care, but it kind of depends on like the stressor and just kind of the day. So sometimes just walking around like home goods is self-care to me and it helps relax me, but other times really really hot shower and lavender essential oils. Uh sorry, I'm being mauled by a pit bull. Um Hanging out with my dog is a big one for me. Anytime I can take him down to the river and let him swim. But yeah, it just kind of depends on what's going on, what I'm able to do, because, some of those things I can't do when I have tea with me. What about you, Wendy?
There's a lot of different things that I've done over the years. I think it's changed within the context. But one of my favorite things that I like to do more often is really just to kind of be outside, especially if it's a clear night. I love looking at the stars and the moon. Uh, there's something about just kind of connecting with the expansiveness of the universe. It makes me feel that whatever is going on in my life, if it's stressful, if it's good, bad, or indifferent, stressful, whatever it is, that connecting to the beauty of the universe, I find very, very helpful. It's almost like a meditative thing for me. And I'm fortunate enough where I actually have a hot tub and a pool in the summertime. And I find that just kind of being in the hot tub or being in the pool is, when you're just floating around, you're very relaxed and in those venues anyway. But just being able to step back and just look up. And maybe it's just because it's so beautiful and it's so peaceful. And you know within the context of it, it just seems like the noise just automatically just leaves.
Yeah, one thing that I also have been getting into is like morning yoga too. I'm a big morning person.
Hmm.
Like for
Hmm.
me, like how I start my day and how I treat the beginning of my day is how my day is usually gonna go. So if I wake up and I'm just like in a rush to do things, I'm stressed, I'm in a bad mood, that's usually like how my day is going to be. So I try really hard to stretch my body. I'm a big believer too, if you don't move your body, like it'll catch up to you in time. So like the more you stretch your
Oh,
muscles
for
in your
sure.
body, the better.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I just try to at least like even if it's like 10 minutes just to just stretch everything out, like go on YouTube, do like a little follow through with someone something simple just to stretch and wake up and just have 10 minutes to yourself before kind of the chaos of the day. I love doing that. Yeah, I couldn't recommend it more. It's so amazing. Even if you think like, oh, I'm not flexible, you like just starting off simple and basic with like even like for me like postpartum, like doing yoga postpartum was so good. It was so awesome for my body.
That's something I've always wanted to get into and just haven't haven't had the time. Just kind of the excuse for everything, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think yoga might be one of those things where it feels like you have to be like part of kind of like Pilates, like that's kind of like a big buzzword right now. Like you have to be like part of a class or like I don't know, you have to go somewhere and like buy all these expensive like outfits and mats and all these things. But really, like there's so much like on YouTube, there's so much that's free. Like I just use like my rug. Like I have a yoga mat, but every once in a while I just use my rug or whatever. And I just use a pillow to help like stretch. But yeah, I think that's part of it too. Like people try to market you self-care and try to get you to spend so much money on self-care, but there's so much like things you can just do at home that are so simple. Like anything you can do just to start your day and your body in the right spot can just be so helpful.
What do you think is the hard part about just getting started with the self care?
I think a big thing is the pressure to be perfect at it. Like you have to
Mm.
do all or nothing. I'm
Mm.
kind of that way where I was like, okay, if I don't do my skincare, if I don't do like a everything shower, if I don't do yoga, if I don't do my walk, like I put so much pressure on myself to do everything all in one day, like it's all or nothing. And lately I've been trying to just like, okay, even just one thing to take care of yourself, like one thing that's only for me. I think that's part of it. People give up because there's just so much pressure to just be perfect and do it all. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think a hard part of it too is simply getting started, making it
Yeah,
part of
that's
your
very true.
routine.
Yeah.
After I had tea, I did not practice self care for a while. And I finally told Ryan one day, I was like, I need to get back to me a little bit. And even then, I just started with like skincare, just that one little thing. I just had to kind of push myself to every night just get up and do it because you need to do something. Just getting started doing it is its own challenge.
Yeah, I think that it's sometimes overlooked, that you can start off with something very simple and small. What I see is that a lot of people generally have these great ideas and it's usually pretty big. And sometimes some of those things cost money. Like you were talking, Emma, about yoga classes and Pilates classes and gym memberships and all of those different kinds of things. And, if you're on a tight budget, that's really hard to do. But it's the simple, smallest practices that one can do that really makes a difference in their life. It's you know, just one small thing like skincare, like you were talking about, Lindsay, or taking a walk, like you were talking about, Emma, or me, just going outside on a clear night and just being present and connecting with the universe. I mean, all of those things are just so simple to do. And it doesn't, those things don't actually cost a whole lot of money. Maybe the face skincare does a little bit, but you know, you got to start somewhere.
But even skincare doesn't have to. Like, I don't go buy expensive creams and serums. I use, some unscented Jergens
Hmm.
and face lotion. Like,
Hmm.
I go crazy with it, but it's just something I've built into my routine now that makes me feel better. So,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ironically, I'm the same way. I used to try and get like all like the like the higher brand stuff. But now my holy grail, because I'm an acne prone person, is like the $7 like Pond's cold cream, like the old lady stuff that grandmas have been using since like the dawn of time. It is like the holy grail, and it lasts me like a year. It's like my skincare. So yeah, that that's so funny because you try to get like all these ads and all these like 20-step skincare, but yeah, sometimes all you need is a good moisturizer and a good cleanser, and you're good to go.
I wonder if uh, so over the decades or whatever it is that it used to be that there were very simple basic products, and now there are so many options and choices that it's really complicated things. And I've fallen into the the whole marketing spectrum where the more expensive it is, the better it is. And that's not necessarily true. I don't believe, but it's taken me a while. Like at first when I was in my 20s, I was too poor. I couldn't afford anything. So I was going for the basics of the basics. In fact, I was lucky enough that I didn't have a lot of skin problems, so I could just use soap and water. So in my 20s, I just used whatever soap was on sale, and that's what I did. And I put a little bit of the I don't even think it was even moisturizer. I think I just put regular lotion on my face for many years. And then when I started getting more money, then I started doing other things because I had more money. And, there's a time when I got pulled into the marketing strategy and I get really expensive stuff. And now, I choose to really focus at least on my skincare, like with kind of the midline products. But I think it's really interesting how things have changed and evolved over time.
Wendy, when I think of your like age group, I think of like for like marketing for like beauty
Mm.
products. I think of like Revlon and Mary Kay and like
Yeah.
those
Avon.
or sorry, Avon. Sorry, I don't even know what it's called, but
Avon, yeah,
Avon.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. And I think that's kind of shifted from like those kind of companies that try to sell you stuff to now it's like for me it's all over like TikTok, like follow my
Mm.
10 step skincare routine or whatever. So it's kind of funny
Mm.
how like through the decades and through the years, like there's different ways of kind of the same thing, like these big companies trying to, make you buy all these things from them. I don't know. Yeah, I just was like, oh yeah, I forgot my mom used to buy like Mary Kay all the time. I'd always find it and use it, and I never needed it because I was like 7. But
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because this is just my vantage point. I think that there's more focus on youth maintaining, like that youthful look. We have Botox and we have different kinds of plastic surgeries and all these expensive serums and all of these different kinds of things. And I don't remember that when I was young. Now, to go back to Mary Kay was big. Avon and Mary Kay were really big when I was in my 20s. And I used Mary Kay products. In fact, I still use Mary Kay products. I just really like them. But
yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah, there's something to be said about trying to look young. Like even if you are young, like I'm 25 and there's all this pressure to like get lip flips and lip fillers and Botox. And I have to like kind of check myself into reality. I'm like, I'm 25. Like I don't need to have any sort of plastic in my face. Like I'm not there yet. I mean, some people love it. Like some people, say it's changed their life. And I've know like some people do Botox for like headaches and stuff like that. But there's this big shift, I think, in, altering your face and this big scare of aging naturally. Like even like celebrities, you don't see a lot of older celebrities
mm,
looking how they ever used
right.
to. They look kind of like uncanny a little bit because they just, I don't know, there's have so much work done. So I think there's something so beautiful about aging naturally and gracefully without anything done.
Lindsay, what are your thoughts?
And I don't think it's for me simply because I think I'm someone that as soon as I got it done, I would find something else wrong with me, and
Yeah.
it would just be a vicious cycle. So it's not for me, but I know, people that it does really work for and they don't go crazy with it. And, that's great for them. But for me, it's not in the cards. If anything, I would maybe do a mommy makeover when I was done having kids just to like get my
Yeah.
stomach back, that kind
Yep.
of thing. But
Hmm.
Yep.
Even
I feel
that,
that.
I don't think I would do. Just depends. I don't know. I'm not there yet, but I'm sure I could probably use some Botox, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, some people
Yeah.
love it. I mean, some people it really works, but yeah, it freaks me out. Like all like the pop-up like med spas. I'm like, how many of you are actually like, you know, schooled, like educated, or are you just like someone that, came off and is injecting stuff? I don't know. I'm just kind of freaked out about it a little bit.
Yeah, that's
Wendy would
fair.
Wendy, would you do it if you had the chance? What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I am. I mean, I don't really want to. Who wants to age, really? Honestly,
Right.
nobody does. But I don't know if I'm gonna really necessarily do too much to myself other than what I've already done because I've seen a lot of people who have had procedures and different things happening, nips and tucks and this and that and the other thing. And I've just seen a lot of things that have gone wrong too, within the
Yeah.
context of it. So on one hand, I can really respect and appreciate what you're saying about, like just what you hear and is that something that, you know, is a good thing for you to do. But ultimately, there's a lot of people that do it. And maybe the big thing is that it comes down to personal choice. Maybe people who do those things, that is their self-care plan too.
True.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
And I'm a big person about personal choice. I really am.
Oh
Like
yeah.
and I respect, like what people do that's a part of their self-care plan. But I'm not a real big fan of the psychology behind the marketing and of like what you should do um as a woman, because I think that marketing and advertising really plays on the psyche and the esteem of women. Like we're afraid, like to, I don't know if afraid is the right word, but I mean, we're not looking forward to aging. Aging is considered to be a really bad thing. And, we want to hold on to that youth. And, there's a lot of different things in which we're able to achieve. For example, when I was in my 20s and 30s, by the way, Lindsay, like you're in your 30s, I never even heard about self care. So that's a big difference between, like me being in my 50s and you guys, like actively thinking in terms of self care because that was just not something that was talked about. It was marketed very, very differently, I suppose, when I was younger. That it was more about having that good body and looking good and feeling good and being social and all of those different kinds of things. But as I've gotten older, I believe that self-care has really changed. And so I'm kind of curious, when did you guys hear about the self-care?
I would say probably around, for me, I noticed it around like when TikTok got really popular because there was
Oh,
all
really?
these,
Hmm.
yeah, because there was all these like routines, like people go on and do their self-care routine, and then you'd see all these products are like marketing their self-care product. So that was kind of a big buzzword. I think it still kind of is. Like if you look like self-care on TikTok, there's millions and millions of videos with them on. So I think a big part of it is, what products can I sell you and call it self-care? And another part of it
Mhm.
is like how, what can I do to get views on this platform? So, I mean, it's kind of a money grab in my opinion, but there, like I said, there is a lot of really good in self-care. You just have to really be careful with how you approach it and just, give yourself a check. You don't need to buy everything that you see. I don't know. What about you, Lindsay?
I would say it would probably TikTok also was was where I first, started hearing the term self-care.
So it was social media that did it.
Oh, big time.
Yep.
Big time social
Yeah.
media. And I think it really sends a message, especially to like younger girls, like younger and younger, it seems that there's something wrong with you. Like with all of it, with like all these products being pushed, with like all this procedures, with everything. It's like t sending this big message, like there is something wrong with you, so you need to buy my product or do this routine or do what I do to fix whatever is wrong with you. And I think it's really creating this huge self-esteem issue in young women. And it's really hard to see. Like even like my siblings, I have two sisters, and they're both high schoolers, and you could tell like their room is filled with like these, whatever they saw on TikTok that was popular. And then it like gets you know, put it in the back of the closet for the rest of the time after 2 weeks because it's like another thing that, it's a hot commodity for about 5 seconds and then it's not. So it's like another thing is these girls are getting so wrapped up in the product and they, get that quick fix. I think it's instilling a lot of bad habits and a lot of bad mindsets in young women and young people. So that's really tough to see. I hope we can kind of shift away from that.
That's kind of interesting because, like, I think that that's always been the thing. It just has been
Oh, really?
marketed and it's been different over the various decades. But
Really?
women, I believe, have always struggled with a lot of pressure to, you said it before, Emma, like the need to be perfect. Like you go to a class and you need to be perfect, or like you have to look perfect, you have to be perfect, you have to have that perfect job, you have to have that perfect look, you have to have that perfect body.
Oh, it's huge. And I think the pressure just feels more and more as you age. Like the more and more you grow and the more and more you see yourself aging. Like even me, like the other day I saw my hands and I just kind of noticed that they were less smooth and kind of more bony and more
Mhm.
wrinkly than they have been. And it freaked me out. And I was like, oh my God, like my life's over for, a split second. And then I, went back to reality. But it's this big shift. You're just so scared to see anything wrong with you in age. And I really hope that we can kind of come together and just realize that it's such a beautiful thing. I think it means like you've lived such a great life. If you have smile lines, if you have, the wrinkles in your eyes, that means your face has smiled and laughed and really experienced life. So I really hope
Mhm.
that we can kind of shift that narrative a little bit, you know?
As the mom of a 2-year-old girl, I fully agree. I don't want her growing up thinking that there's anything wrong with her body or her face or any of that. And I know
Yeah.
my niece struggled with that a lot. And I don't want that for my daughter, so I'm hoping we can start kind of changing the culture around that.
Do you think that that has changed, or do you think that there's just a resurgence with social media, that there's just even more pressure?
I wouldn't even say it's more. I would say it's just kind of always been this way.
Mm.
I don't notice like an uptick in it. The one thing I could say I see an uptick with would probably be, what the current trend is. Like we were talking about body modification, surgeries, but before, it was weight loss.
Mhm.
You have
Oh
to be
yeah.
so super
Weight has
skinny.
always been a thing.
Yeah, and one thing that I have thought about that, I've heard this from men before, like if she's not successful, at least she's pretty. At least she has that going
Mhm.
for her. You hear that narrative all the time, like, or she could do anything because she's got the looks for it. And I think you hear that from a young age. So you put so much energy and pressure and this high standard of being pretty. Like your looks are so monumental to who you are as a woman. Like for my son, I know he's never gonna have to worry about that. Like he's gonna want to be good looking, like any person, but he's not gonna base, his whole self-worth on how good looking or not good looking he is. Like he's gonna think more about other aspects, his hobbies, what he enjoys, how, other things like that. So I really hope we can, turn that around a little bit. But it's really hard because you want to be, good looking and you want to be your best self. So I think your brain or my brain gets a little bit confused because you're like, I want to work out, I want to be healthy, I want my skin to be smooth, and I want my hair to be perfect. So you get a little bit of this mix up between self-care, taking care of yourself, mixed with um, being perfect and being this perfect person and being
Mhm.
beautiful. So I think that can be a really fine line. So I think as soon as it stops feeling like it's beneficial to you and it's performative for others is when that line gets crossed.
What are some other things that you've heard of that would be good self care things?
I hear a lot of really good things about meditation. For me personally, it's not something I've ever been able to like get in the zone for, but I hear it's a game changer for a lot of people.
It can be very much so. There's a lot of research, especially for people out there that struggle with a lot of anxiety. Meditation is one of the best evidence based things that a person can do for themselves. I think that the hard part is just like when you were talking about earlier, Emma, yoga. There are so many different practices with yoga. There's so many different practices with meditation too. And I believe that, there's something for everybody, out there. I really do. I think that the hard part is just kind of going through the motions, and if one thing doesn't work, try something else. And I can attest to that because I read the research for many, many years. I've worked with patients about, like for many years, with helping them to enhance, their own meditation. And yet me myself, I had a really hard time with it. And it wasn't until I started finding that me connecting with nature actually worked for me. Being in nature and around nature. And, like I talked a little bit about just being out on a clear night, and just connecting with the stars and the universe and watching the moon. But it's even more than that. Like meditation can just be a, it's really mindfulness. It's about living your life with intention, and it's taking notice to things that you haven't necessarily taken the time to notice. So every once in a while, like I'll be driving home, or in the morning I'll wake up and I'll see the sunrise, or I'll be driving home and I'll see the sunset. And there have been times when I have stopped my car just to capture, like just the beauty, the color, and different kinds of things. And how many years of life have I lived where I didn't even pay attention to any of those things. I didn't pay attention to the moon or the stars or the sunrise or the sunset or listen to the birds. Uh, I have always, however, I love the smell of fresh grass. I don't know, call me weird. It's probably weird, but I love I love the smell of fresh grass. Now, it doesn't last all summer. I don't know what happens to grass and why it's not as pleasant in the latter part of the summer, but I love the spring and the smell of fresh cut grass.
I do too. I think a big part of that is like finding things that bring you joy and maybe things that you noticed when you were like a child that you like never pay attention to after you grew up because didn't matter. So looking
Mm,
at the stars and the
mhm,
moon and the sun and smelling everything like the grass and spring. And I think one thing that I like to do is like find my inner child. I know that's a big buzzword right now too, but like you talked about other methods of self-care, like eat like silly things. Like for me, I like to
mhm.
color. Like I got these pretty markers and I have a coloring book and I like to color and draw,
Oh yeah. Mhm.
even if it sounds silly or if I'm too old for it, whatever. Or like going to the zoo because I love animals, or going to an amusement park because I love rides, like things that adults aren't supposed to do because they're childish. I think is stupid. I think you should just really find whatever makes you happy and what you enjoy doing. I think that could also be a huge
Mhm.
part of self-care, like finding your inner child.
Yeah, I love that. I really do.
I love a
It,
swing. Getting
oh
on a
yeah,
swing on a
swinging is great.
playground, I
Yeah.
love it. I still love to swing at 35
Love a
years
good
old. Love
swing.
it. Love a
Yep.
good swing. I'm a
Yeah.
little too old for the playground equipment I've learned recently, but the swings are still good.
Hmm.
They should make a playground for adults with big
I'm sure
swings
they
and
Hey,
exist.
that's $1 million idea. I wonder what that, like
adult playground.
an adult playground with all the things that can bring you back to your own inner child and just be okay with that.
Yeah, no judgment, no anything. You just have a good time. You can bring your friends. That
They've
is a
got
million dollar
those.
idea. Do they?
They've got those. Oh yeah.
What?
The St. Louis City Museum is basically just one giant indoor playground, and on I think it's like weekend evening nights, it's like adults only.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ooh,
you
Really?
get there's like tunnels to crawl around in and all kinds of stuff.
that's perfect. We gotta go. I'll go.
Okay,
I'll get on a plane. I don't care.
let's go.
We'll
I'm
drive down
ready.
there.
Yeah,
It's
seriously.
only 8 hours for you, Emma. 10 for
Eh,
me.
It's only two for me.
but I live 45 minutes from an airport, so
There
Yeah,
you
that's
go.
true. Hmm. I
Oh,
love it. Well, there's other different kinds of things that are practices. There's so many of them. In Minneapolis, for example, they have a lot of salt caves, and I'm not saying that it's just a Minneapolis but I've heard about the salt caves or Himalayan salt, which has healing powers, and those have been practices that have been around for a very, very long time. It's kind of interesting how there's all of these easternized practices that have been around forever. And now we're starting to kind of come back to them. So, essential oils, Himalayan salt, Himalayan salt lamps.
yeah,
Uh,
those are huge.
yeah. Having a fish tank, I mean, they're a lot of work. I just want to let everybody know they're a lot of work. But, a fish tank is actually very, like you can just watch fish, and they swim back and forth. They're entertaining, bird watching. I mean, there's just so many different things that people can do for self-care. And if there's one thing that I would invite everybody to do is just to sit back and really think about what do you do to bring balance into your life and what do you do to take care of yourself? Because you only get this life once, and taking care of yourself actually has been proven to be highly connected to longevity of life. For me, it's changed over the years. I've always been a big camper. I love camping. I do. I love camping, and when I was living closer to where Lindsay is living, I used to do float trips when I was younger. I kind of miss
oh,
that
we
kind of
love a
stuff.
float trip. We
Yeah,
love a
float
float
trips are
trip.
great. And it doesn't have to be something that's expensive. Hiking, biking, um, connecting. In Kansas City, when I was living there, they had, there's the museum and arts. I mean, Kansas City was known for its arts, like jazz, art, like theater, all of those different kinds of things. And I just remember going to all of those things and taking my boys when they were younger too, just to expose them to different ways of understanding or being educated. I love theater. All of the Hey, we went to Hans Zimmer, Emma.
Yeah, that was very cool. He's the guy that, for everyone that doesn't know, he's the guy that did like the music for the Pirates of the Caribbean and Interstellar and what were some other ones? Some other big ones? There's a few.
Oh, Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor,
Raising, or no, not raising, Driving Miss
Driving
Daisy.
Miss Daisy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So it was really cool. It was a
just a
big orchestra and they
tremendous
did all that.
composer. Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even something that I didn't know if I would like, but I loved it. So there's something to be
Mm-hmm.
said about that too, like trying new things, getting out of your comfort zone, just seeing what you enjoy that's, out of your routine. Because sometimes I think part of it too is people get stuck in a routine. Like I love a routine. I'm a routine queen. Like that's my thing. Like boom, boom, boom. Like I love when my days are structured, but some days it's easy to get stuck in a rut and not branch out or, really let yourself grow and find new
Mm.
things. So
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah.
really a good form of self-care too, is to give yourself the opportunity and the space to find out what you like in this world. And don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Like ask your partner and let them know, like, hey, I need to do this for myself today. Can we make this work? Because that's big too. Like you don't have to do it all and have it all perfect every day. Like you deserve the time and the space for yourself. Like it's okay to ask for that
It's
and
fun.
filter that in.
It's
Mhm.
funny you say that, Emma, because I'm actually kind of the opposite of you. And I feel like when I add a little routine, that is self care for me because I'm usually a, well, we'll see how it goes, see how the day goes kind of person.
That's
There is
great.
no structure around here, there is no routine. So sometimes having a little bit of a routine.
How is Ryan? Is Ryan a routine guy?
He's not a routine if we are
Okay.
doing something. He wants to have a step by
Yes.
step plan. And I'm like, I don't know, let's just drive there and see what happens. Like,
Yes.
he's
Yeah,
like, when are we going to go? I'm like, I don't know, when we get up and get dressed. Like,
oh my
I'm
gosh.
not giving you a time.
Yeah, I'm a Ryan and you are a Steven. I think people are either one or the other and they marry each other because Steven's the same way. He's like, we visited his family this weekend, his family, and I was like, when are we leaving? Like, we need to get up at this time, fill up gas at this place. Like, this place is cheaper. Like, X, Y, and Z's figured out, right? And he's like, I don't know. Let's just go when we figure out that we want to go. Like, let's just go when we feel like it. I'm like, no, that's not going to work. You know? So that's crazy. I really think that's like, people like we just I don't know, polar opposites, but we somehow work. It's so weird.
He gets that from me. But I am married to a person who is a fly by night kind of a guy. You know, like Todd. You know,
The
Yeah.
he
Todd
just
thing.
yeah, Todd's very flexible. He's very accommodating and surprisingly, I find myself way more organized. Okay. And he takes forever to do stuff. I love my husband to death, but he takes forever to do things. If you say, all right, we need to be at a place, by 10 o'clock in the morning, for example, um, you have to he has to get up really early in the morning in order to actually be ready to go at 10 o'clock or be to a place.
Same.
Thankfully, he's not a big person to be late, but oh, he just takes it to the wire sometimes. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, Ryan wakes up and he's like, all right, let's go. Like, let's get dressed. Let's start doing it. And I'm like, I need to like lay here and have some coffee. And it's going to take me a while to pick an outfit. Like, you're just going to have to simmer down, bud.
It's interesting how it all plays together, how sometimes opposites attract, and sometimes that can be a little bit of a stressor.
Yeah, Ryan gets very stressed out that I'm not jump up and get ready and we're going at this time. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I don't know. I don't know how T's gonna feel that morning. I don't know how I'm gonna feel that morning. So I'll get back to you in 3 to 5 business days. I don't we'll see.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's interesting within the context of it. But
Emma, I remember when you had T when you were visiting and you were keeping her for me, and you're like, does she have like a nap time or like a feeding schedule? And I'm like, no, she just kind of does whatever she wants.
I was like, how long is her nap? Like, when do you like outside time? Like, what's the limits? You're like, like just let her live. But I was like, okay,
Yeah,
sounds good. I'll just let her
yeah.
live.
She'll tell you if she's hungry. She'll tell you if she wants to take a nap. You just
And
kind
she
of
did.
it's
She
yep.
she let me know. There was no. She just She's like, oh, I want Fruit Loops. Nah, I'm tired. I'm taking a nap right now. Okay, girl. Okay, queen. Like, do your thing. It was
I
so
have to admit,
fun.
I love the baby snuggles from both AJ and T.
That is self care. Hugging your grandkids
Or
Oh,
your
you know
kid.
what? Actually, I
or your
I
kids.
didn't think about that, but yeah, any of those different kinds of things. I mean, spending time with people that you care about, hugs, quality time, sometimes watching TV. Like I work hard, and I work really long hours, as does many people. It's not just me, but like I just sometimes just watching TV, is a little bit of my self-care. But I
Mm-hmm.
I really like activity. For me, I do like to stay active and busy. There are certain things that I don't like to do. One of these days, I want to go on that float trip, Lindsay. We're gonna do it. Canoe
Okay.
and do some canoeing.
Oh, we don't
But
canoe. We get an 8-man raft because we got to fit coolers, lots of them.
oh, okay. Well, right.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to work on a float trip. I'm trying to
Yeah.
just float.
It's
Oh, that
great.
fair enough.
Oh,
Fair enough. Oh, we like to travel too. Like if there's an opportunity to travel, I think that traveling can be good. But one of the things that I've had to learn about traveling is that when I go someplace, I try not to overdo it. So many times I hear people that do and do and do, like they have to just, like 5 or 6 things a day. And I can't do that. I will go to a place, and most of the time I just like to hang by a pool or by the beach or by the water. I like to get massages. And I will do 1 or 2 things in a week. And if I really like the place, then I'll come back and I will do other things.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me because, like, I want to relax when I'm on vacation, but if we're traveling, like, I also want to experience everything that place has to offer. So I have a hard
Mhm.
time finding the middle ground,
I was
except
gonna
Yeah.
say,
when I was pregnant and we traveled, because then it was just,
yeah, nothing
I'll
you could
be
do
on the
there.
beach, leave me alone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of a mix between the two. Like I like to have my downtime and my time to just like unwind on the beach, but I also like find that I quickly get bored of that, so I need to like have something planned. Like if there's nothing planned, I'm just like, well, I can sleep in the room. Like I need to have something going on, like me and my plans. So I think like two, 1 or 2 things that are like different from just kind of laying down. Then I'm like, that's like my perfect way of like doing a vacation. Somewhere in between. Somewhere in
Maybe
between.
that happened. Maybe that changes through age, because I can see myself as being a younger self. And when I would go on vacations and travel, I'd want to do more things. But in my older self, and it wasn't just when I hit my 50s, probably when I hit my 40s, I realized that I just really needed to unwind from the stress because I was I was carrying quite a bit of stress, and just teaching myself to just do less and relax more, was very helpful because I don't have a lot of time when I'm not working,
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, I think it depends on your situation. Like for me, like I'm at home a lot of the times. So if I can get out and see different things and do different things, that I kind of crave that now. But if you're like Wendy, if you're you and you're constantly, visiting with patients and you're constantly on the go and you're constantly talking and you're constantly, doing your job, I could see how you could just want to just veg out. I could totally see that.
Yeah. I use my maximum number of words every day with my job.
You work hard and relax hard is your motto.
I do. I do. That is very much my not motto. And I think
Hmm.
that more people should adopt that actually. Work hard, relax hard.
I like it.
But I also miss, like when the kids were younger. I loved being able to do fun things with my kids. You know, we did a lot of zoos and we would take walks. I just remember every night because I was into trying to get some of that, gained baby weight off or whatever. The boys and I would take walks every day, and we would play tennis. I taught all my boys how to play tennis at one point in time, and like I loved being a mother to boys. I never got the opportunity to be a mother to girls, but I love the opportunity to be a mother of boys because my boys taught me a lot about how to do different things. Boys are generally more active. I'm not saying girls are not, but at least my experience was that my boys were very, very active, and they liked movement and they liked doing different kinds of things. But it was also a balance because, again, living in Kansas City, there was a lot of art. So we would go to Shakespeare in the Park, and we would go to Starlight Theater, and we would go to the Johnson County Theater in the Park is where that was at, and it still is. All of those things are still around, and go ice skating down in Crown Center, just so many different things. They would play soccer and football. And I was, like, I just loved, like that part of activity. To me, that was my relaxation. Probably where your guys's maybe self-care is found in some of the activities, seeing your life or living your life through the eyes of your child and what they like to do. Sometimes it's nice to be able to take that kind of a break.
Yeah, I think I'm at a tricky spot where my son is a little bit too small, so he's very much still dependent on me. And whenever I do bring him places, you have to factor in like all the different things you have to bring. Like I'm going to New York this weekend, and I'm just thinking like I have to bring like, the diaper bag, diapers, wipes, playpen, sippy cups, toys, like so it becomes less of like, oh, I get to bring my son to like this exciting place versus like, oh man, I have to lug all this in an airplane and keep him quiet in an airplane. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like I'm excited to bring him with me, but it's also like I know it's going to be tough. So maybe when he gets a little bit older, that'll be more, more fun and less stressful. Lindsay's like, heck no. But
Right now, if we're doing anything that isn't exactly what T wants to do, it's a meltdown phase. So
Oh,
we
she's
don't do
two.
anything.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm
Mm.
yeah.
saying. So you got to wait a little longer still. It's not just like a year from now. You still got some time.
Good to know.
Because
Yeah.
we used to take T to do all kinds of stuff, and now it's like, I don't know. I'm gonna see if my parents will watch her while we go do that, because
Yeah.
if it's not what she wants to do, nobody's having a good time right now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes it
Well, the
hard.
different ages. Yeah, the different ages and challenges and different
ages and
kinds of
stages.
things. Yeah,
Ages and
ages and
stages.
stages, absolutely. The transitions and the changes. Like I'm really hoping that people who are listening to this podcast have really they're able to take away one message. And the message is it's really important to kind of figure out what your self-care plan is going to be, bringing in that balance and really seeking to take care of yourself. And everybody's a little bit different, like with what it is that they need to do or want to do. Sometimes self-care is eating healthy, sometimes it's activity, sometimes it's finding that inner child, sometimes it's staying away from social media. We've talked about that before, staying away from social media. Sometimes it's binge watching, a show on occasion, camping, canoeing, floating, skincare, what, drinking tea, being outside, taking in, like the moment of what it is that you see and connecting with something, breathing. There's all kinds of things that are out there, but one thing that is really, really important is taking care of yourself and bringing that balance back into your life.
Well said. I think that pretty much kind of wraps up our
Yeah, that was a
our
perfect wrap
podcast.
up.
Perfect way to end it. Thanks again for tuning in this week. Please follow our socials. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube. We're in the mix of creating a website, getting some merch, so look out for that. Stay tuned. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.
Thanks for spending this time with us on Ages and Stages. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with a friend who might need it too. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube for more behind-the-scenes moment and updates between episodes. Wherever you are in life, your stage matters, and we're so glad you're here. We'll see you next time.